When you go into the grocery store, you may see a loaf of bread, some ground beef, or a steak. It's easy to take for granted that it's just there, but there's a lot that goes into that process. Let me show you how it's done. I'm Michael Peters. I'm a farmer from Central Oklahoma. What we do is raise beef and wheat on the same land at the same time. Developing a variety of wheat for the Graze and grain program in Oklahoma is a complex issue. The complexity is we're asking this plant to do two jobs instead of one. We're fortunate in Oklahoma to have a wheat breeder at Oklahoma State University that spends a lot of his time working on the varieties for us.
My job is to produce a better wheat variety for the state of Oklahoma and our Oklahoma wheat producers. Hi, I'm Brett Carver. I'm on the OSU faculty, and my position involves not so much teaching, but research in wheat breeding and genetics. As we are in this laboratory of food analysis, the importance comes out of how we can select for higher yield and higher bread making ability.
Not only does that plant go through the grazing phase, we also ask it to produce a high-quality end-use product for the consumer.
It's not practiced anywhere else in the United States or in the world for that matter. The emphasis we put on that dual-purpose production system. There's really only one wheat breeding program that produces wheat varieties directly for the Oklahoma wheat producer, and that's at Oklahoma State University.
The process of grazing cattle on wheat in Oklahoma is kind of a year-long process. As many of you know, being from Oklahoma, the weather can be very variable. It can be hot one day or cold the next day. The weather this fall has been very challenging. We started out with extreme dry conditions, which delayed planting, waiting to get the proper moisture for the planting time. As a farmer and rancher, we're always striving to produce a wholesome nutrition product for the consumer. And I believe that grazing cattle on winter wheat does that. Throughout the winter, you're watching the cattle, taking care of them. I myself, I don't really enjoy working out in those cold days. It takes a little extra effort as far as clothing, taking care of the livestock. Fortunately for us, the cattle are very adaptable to this weather. While they may require a little more food or taking care of the water, they can handle some of those extremes, but it's something we deal with on a day-to-day basis. In the late February to March time frame, you're pulling those cattle off, and that's the optimal time where you've got your most gain and the wheat can still go on to a grain crop. So the benefit back to the farmer or rancher for me is the profitability side. Growing wheat in Oklahoma can be very marginal profit-wise, so when we're able to add that cattle to the mix as far as grazing that winter wheat, it helps us to be profitable. Everybody needs to be profitable in our business in order to put things back into the soil and to hopefully pass this operation on to the next generation. So after you pull those cattle off and have shipped them, you're then taking that wheat crop onto harvest, which generally takes place in Oklahoma the first part of June. From that standpoint, it's then taken to the milling and baking process for our customers either domestically or overseas. Both the process of developing protein for the human diet and a whole grain is taking place on a small footprint. So the next time you see a green wheat field with cattle grazing, you'll know how complex and sustainable this process is. This brings protein and whole grains to your family's table.